focus and all the rest of it. Obviously, in this world we've been living in for the last year or so, we're talking primarily about the challenging times that we are all going through. And I think part of staying strong and focused, it's not about positive thinking, it's about really clear thinking, and it's about not being overly influenced by outside events, and critically, not bundling everything together in a kind of big globule of a mess. That because we've got economic challenges and the challenges that might present to any particular business, and maybe you're this week also giving your kids homeschooling and stuff like that, that because that's all going on, and because every night on the news they show you business owners closing their doors, that has to mean that your business has to suffer too, and that for some reason this just has to be an average mediocre year for you, or you just have to sort of fight and try and struggle and try to keep going. And I say absolutely not to that. Absolutely not. And I'm not downplaying the challenges that particular business sectors have. But look, here's how I can back this up. Last year, 2020, numerous numbers of my clients, so we have a whole side of my business where we work directly with business owners. We look after their websites, we look after their Google advertising, and then I have a section of private clients that I work with directly. Many of them, and I mean dozens and dozens and dozens of them, had their best year ever last year. My company, Cardell Media, we had our best year ever. And there were a number of reasons for that. We were heading kind of that way anyway. But the challenges that the last year have brought also bring us incredible opportunities as business owners. The prime one being most of your competitors do everything I've just said not to do. Most of your competitors will have kind of frozen up, stopped a lot of their marketing and advertising and so on. I will tell you, in Cardell Media, we brought in 400% more customers last year in 2020 than we did the year before. 400%. And the main reason for that, one of the main reasons for that, is that our ability to go out there and promote ourselves and market and advertise got a lot cheaper on platforms like Google and Facebook and so on, because a lot of companies stop. They do the craziest thing possible, which is they stop marketing in a recession, which is the last thing you want to do. Okay, if the recession presents the problem that getting customers is harder to do, a harder thing to achieve, don't stop the thing that gets you customers, right? Which is your marketing, obviously. So, number one, I have ample proof that people can not just survive through this, but thrive really, really well. But the biggest thing, and this loops us into our conversation here today, is the facts are the facts. Most businesses are really bad at marketing, are really bad at promoting themselves, are really bad at online marketing. Often not through anyone's fault in the business, they just haven't had good advice or good support, or they've got lousy web designers and all that kind of thing. And therefore their business is engaging in the activity of getting customers, which is what marketing is, in a really ineffective way. Now, if you do that in a good economy, you still only have an average business. If you do this in this economy, you won't have a business, obviously. And so most of the pain stories that you hear out there are people who, yes, are being presented with challenges that the economy is throwing at them, but those challenges are being layered on top of businesses who are really ineffective at getting customers and growing their business. By the time we're done here today, I'm going to show you how to do that. So I would just say at the outset to set your goals big and high and large. And I hope by the time we're done, I hope that you will have a clear understanding of how to do that. That it's not some pie in the sky idea. It's not just, oh, I have to work harder. I'm going to show you today the 7 key things which, if you put them in place, will either make 2021 your best year ever, or I guarantee it that it will be one of your best years ever. The other thing we've got to bear in mind is, while we are still having significant challenges in many parts of the world, at some point this year, and it will vary slightly and we can't predict it with great complete accuracy, but at some point this year that will change. And my prediction is it will change pretty quickly, because not only will the actual physical problem of the pandemic diminish, hopefully, if it all goes to plan, but the psychology around it will diminish as well. While we all need to be really careful, the facts are the facts, and sadly, the people who've died through all this, the vast majority of them are over 80, and in the main majority, once you get under 60, it's really an over 60 to 70s type thing. Once that segment of the population is inoculated, hopefully the death rates will come down, the hospitalizations will plummet, and that will change how people actually feel. It won't just change their behavior, it will change how they feel. And when that all happens, and when the world starts opening up again, the money floodgates will open. And it's really important that we appreciate what is going on in this recession and how it's so unlike other economic downturns. In a lot of recessions, money sort of disappears almost for various reasons. That's not what's happened here. What's happened here is money has stopped moving. The person who is furloughed and still having their salary paid, or most of it paid, but can't go on vacation, can't go to a restaurant, can't go to a bar, doesn't have to pay for their travel to work every day. They have more disposable money, ironically, now than they had a year ago. The problem is there's nothing for them to do with it, or there's limited elements. That's why e-commerce is doing so well, because the only thing really to do is sit on your bloody laptop and find something to buy. That's why our e-commerce clients really have had their best year ever. But money hasn't disappeared, it's just stopped moving. And when this all calms down, we're going to have permission for that to start moving again. And when that happens, if you are in front of that, if you've already implemented a lot of what we're going to cover here today, you will have the opportunity to grasp that. So when I say 2021 your best year ever, I mean it, and I want you to mean it too. The other thing that is very specific in the title of this event was the 7 essential strategies to increase your profits by 50% to 250%. And if you're newer to my world, or if you've stumbled on me recently on Google, Facebook, or I suppose I should introduce myself, because I know we have a lot of very new people. Hello, I'm Chris Cardell, and for 20 plus years, more than 20 years, I've been saying 20 years now for several years, so it's more than 20 years. For more than 20 years, I'm very proud that my company Cardell Media has been the leading provider of marketing, online marketing, entrepreneurial success information for entrepreneurs. I've been featured in the media. We have people come and spend large amounts at our conferences, events, and all that. And the point is, the thing I do is I show business owners how to increase their profits by 50% to 250%. And there is a model for doing that. And lots of people achieve that every year, and they do certain things and take certain actions that struggling business owners do not. So what we're going to cover here now are the 7 essential strategies for you to achieve that. A couple of quickies and then we'll jump into it. These are not in order of importance. They are all really important. So do stay with me. I don't have a set time for how long today is going to be. I'm just going to keep going until we cover it all, because it's important stuff. You might want to kind of lock the door, kick the cat or the kids out, and give this some focus, because in all seriousness, what we're going to cover, I wanted to do something pretty spectacular to kickstart your year. I wanted to give you something of real value. When we're done here today, you're not going to think, oh, those were a couple of useful tips. When we're done here today, you're going to understand precisely how extremely successful business owners from every type of business to business, business to consumer, people who sell products, people who sell services, you're going to understand exactly how they do what they do. And you're probably going to realize some of the things you haven't got in place yet, that when you do put them in place will make a huge difference. Right, let's get going with our number 1 of our 7. So I promised you that within the first few minutes of today, I would show you conclusive proof of a specific strategy, a way of thinking that lets you increase your profits by at least 100%. And if you go and stop 10 business owners in the street and say, could you increase your profits by 100%? Could you increase your profits by 100% in the world that we're currently living in? Most people would say no. And it's not they don't want to, it's just that they don't believe it's possible. Well, here's how it's possible. Number one is the triple approach to growing your business. The triple approach to growing your business. Now, here's why people don't think it's possible to get 100% increase in profits, double your profits in a shortish period of time. People think the only way to do that is to double the number of customers you've got, which can feel like a big task. The point is, that's not the only way to grow a business. So there are three core ways to grow your business, and actually really only three ways. Everything will come down to one of these three approaches, okay? So the three ways to grow your business are, number one, increase the number of customers you have, as we just spoke about. So that's the obvious one, and it's the one that everybody thinks about, and we certainly spend a lot of time focusing on it. We're going to talk later about internet marketing and Facebook and Google and all that kind of, and that will get you more customers. The only thing about increasing the number of customers is, of the three things, it's the hardest to do and it's the most expensive to do. And particularly if you're facing cash flow issues, it's not necessarily going to be your immediate fastest source of profit, even though obviously we always want to be continually getting new customers. But anyway, the first of the three ways to grow your business is to increase the number of customers that you have. The second way to grow your business is to increase the average spend of those customers. In other words, when someone buys something from you, to increase the amount of money they spend with you. Okay, so if you owned a hairdresser, and let's assume you're allowed to be open, right? If you owned a hairdresser, and on average you charge, and I'm going to talk today, because of our global audience, sometimes I'll say dollars, sometimes I'll say pounds, but obviously you can translate it to your currency. Let's say you charge £50 or dollars for a haircut. Okay, how do you get the customer to increase the average spend? Well, the obvious way is to increase your prices. So if you increase your prices to £55, you've got yourself a 10% increase in average spend. If you increase it to 60, you got 20%. So one way to increase the average spend is around prices, and we're going to talk about pricing today as well, because that's really, really significant. But it's not the only way. The other way to increase average spend is when someone does business with you, get them to buy something else as well. So if the typical customer comes in and just gets their hair cut, and you start selling them product with that they don't normally buy, and you train your team to upsell them into the products, which is not a difficult thing to do, maybe they spend £20 or dollars on product, and now their average spend's gone from 50 to 70. You could imagine that's going to make a huge difference. So the second way to grow your business is to get people spending more money, both through pricing and selling them more when they purchase. And the third way of doing business is to increase the number of times people purchase from you. Okay, so get them to buy more frequently. If somebody comes into your hairdressers 3 times a year and you can get them to come in 4 times a year, you've significantly increased the number of times they purchase. The customers you have. And what this is getting into is one of the critical elements, which we're also going to cover today, which is everybody obsesses about getting new customers. As I said, it's the hardest, most expensive thing to do. And they ignore and they neglect the gold that is sitting there in selling to existing customers. So if you can get your current customers to buy from you more often, obviously, it's going to be a good way to grow your business. So those are the 3 ways to grow your business. Increase the number of customers, increase the average spend, and increase the number of times people purchase. What's that got to do with doubling your profits? Well, here's what it's got to do with doubling your profits. Have a look at the numbers, because it's pretty interesting. So let's say we just got a 10% increase in all of those. Let's say you got 10% more customers, people spent 10% more, increase your prices maybe by 10%, and there's a 10% increase in the frequency of purchase. I mean, those figures are like ridiculously low. You'll half an hour from now, you'll know how to do that. But let's say we did that. If you do that, what's interesting is because of the cumulative effect of that snowball kind of effect of that, if you increase each of those by 10%, you don't get a 10% increase in sales. You actually get a 33% increase in sales, because it's the power of those three areas combined that makes a difference. Now, have a look at this. What if you increase the number of customers by 30%, doing some of the strategies that we're going to cover today, which is very achievable? You increase the average spend by 20%, which again, very achievable and doable. And you increase the number of times people purchase, not doubling it or anything, but just a nice conservative 30%. If you do those three things, you get just over a 100% increase in sales. And therefore, normally a minimum 100% increase in profit. Actually, obviously, in most businesses, depending on how the costs and profit margins work, it's often more than 100%. But that will get you a 100% increase in profits. When I started off early in my career, I got a lot of media attention because I would go into businesses one by one. I can't do that anymore, but I was like a consultant, super consultant. I'd go in one by one and I'd achieve these dramatic results. We'd either turn around underperforming businesses really fast, or we'd take a business that was doing really okay or quite well and turn it, an ordinary business, into an extraordinary business really fast. And we get them these 100% increases. And people were like, wow, how'd you do that? It kind of looked like magic. Well, it wasn't. It kind of was, but it wasn't. What we did is methodically went through all three of those. Okay? So I'd get a new business, I'd start working with you, and my question to you would be like, how do we get 30% more customers? How do we get a 20% increase in spend? And how do we get a 30% increase in number of times people purchase? And that is what highly successful entrepreneurs, that's kind of what we live and breathe by. So back to our title, when I talk about 2021 being your best year ever, and I say to you, I hope I'm going to open up some possibilities on how that is achievable for you. No, you don't have to dash out there and suddenly get a ton of new customers next week, although we're going to talk about some ways to do that. In a very steady growth way, best of all, at very little cost. I mean, getting customers to buy from you again costs either nothing or next to nothing. By focusing on those three core areas, that's how we get you that minimum 100% increase. All it requires is for you to be good at marketing. That's all it needs, is for you to make a decision to be good at marketing. That's it. And it will happen. Now, sometimes it happens really fast, sometimes it takes a bit of time, but I'll tell you what normally happens. What normally happens is if you really get good at marketing and put your attention on those three areas, the numbers you get actually end up being a lot higher than that. Okay, it's actually not that big a deal. If someone isn't doing, for example, Google and Facebook really well, or if we get a new Google client and I go into their account, it's normally pretty easy for me to double someone's traffic from Google. So actually, 100%, 150% increase in new customers and traffic ain't that hard. So what normally happens is you get results much more spectacular than that. If you've ever been to my live events and seminars, we wheel on to the stage the entrepreneur millionaires, the people who get results that just seem stunning. You know, they were running 100 grand, 200 grand a year business 18 months ago, and now they've just hit 2 million, for example. And it looks, you know, almost beyond belief. But all they're doing is they're working on the 3 ways to grow your business. So as we go forward, bear that in mind as your foundation. I'm not here to tell you what your financial goals should be, but I do want you to know that at least doubling your profits in this year ahead is a very, very achievable thing. And if you layer on what we were talking about earlier about, you know, at some point this year, things are going to get a lot better and people's wallets and purses are coming out to play, then it's a very achievable thing for you. So That's the first of our 7 essential strategies. That's our foundation, if you will, upon which everything else is built. And now the question becomes, okay, how do I get more customers? How do I increase my prices? And how do I get people buying again and again? So, number 2 of our 7 essential strategies is what we call the internet sales myth. We've got to wipe out this extremely damaging internet sales myth. The internet sales myth is basically, when it comes to websites, it's basically build it and they will come. The web design industry has kind of hoisted on us this mindset that if you only have a nice looking, well-designed website, the customers will follow. And if you've been in business for more than 5 minutes, you've discovered probably that's not the case. And if you're frustrated with your website and what's going on with your website, trust me, you are not alone. It is the biggest frustration of everybody. So our path to the 3 ways to grow our business for most of us is going to be either primarily online or in some cases totally online. You don't need me to explain to you how in 2021 your website and your web presence is everything. So let me cover with you quickly. And obviously this is a huge subject. We do 2 or 3 day events just about this. So I want to try and just condense this down to 2 or 3 things that can make a real clear difference for you. So the number 1 thing to understand about internet marketing is everybody tries to make it confusing. Everybody tries to make it complicated and fill you with all this BS. And it's not necessary. There's only 2 things you need to think about in terms of online marketing. They are traffic and conversion. That's it. Traffic is getting people to your website. Conversion is converting them when they are there. And what's interesting, by the way, in the same way we have our 3 ways to grow a business model, which shows you how to double your profits overall or higher, there's also what we call the traffic and conversion formula. It's very simple. If you say to people, oh, could you double the profits on your website? They assume you've got to double the traffic. It's not the case. If you get a 50% increase in traffic and a 50% increase in your conversion rate, so let's say you get 100 people a day and 1 person buys every day, and 1% actually is the average conversion rate. If we can increase the traffic by 50% to 150 and increase the conversion rate by 50% to 1.5%, you get, again, just over a 100% increase in sales. So what we do as successful entrepreneurs and as successful marketers is we obsess about traffic and conversion. And when people come to you telling you to do this and that and SEO and all this old nonsense, unless it very clearly and measurably brings you good traffic, not any old traffic, good traffic, or unless it very clearly increases the conversion on your website, tell them to go run a mile, because that's all we care about, traffic and conversion. So 3 quickies for you. I'm going to zoom in onto the conversion side of this because we're going to talk about traffic later. We're going to talk about how to get more people to your website. But let's talk specifically about conversion. Conversion means when someone comes to your website, converting them to either an immediate customer. So if you're in e-commerce, for example, that's obviously what you're doing. Or for many people who provide services or sell business to business, you want that person to arrive at your website and contact you, raise a hand, wave at you and say, I'm interested, either by phoning you or filling in a form. So getting them to do one of those actions is a conversion. And the conversion side is really, really overlooked. People tend to obsess about traffic, but as I'm doing with you here, actually we start with conversion. Because look, I can get you a ton of traffic on Google and Facebook, but if I'm sending them to a website that does not convert, because some web designer who doesn't know what they're doing has created it for you, then I could get you the greatest traffic in the world. It ain't going to work. So conversion is critical. So let me whiz through 3 really quick conversion strategies with you. The first thing, it's a big mistake that people make at the outset, is every page on your website that you're sending people to, whether it be your homepage or a specific page about a specific subject. When I arrive at that page on your website, that page must have a clear purpose. It must have one clear thing that you want me to do. You might want me to buy something, again, if you're e-commerce. You might want me to phone you. A lot of the time now, we're seeing a lot of success with pushing what we call the inbound phone call, because so many people are looking on their phones, and so just getting them to tap is a good thing. So maybe you want me to phone you, or maybe you want me to fill out an inquiry form, or request a callback, or whatever it may be. But it should have one clear purpose. It doesn't mean that you completely hide the other options. So if, for example, you want me to phone you, you would have the phone number prominent everywhere, and the whole message will be about that. You can still have a link to a form and that kind of thing. But the basic message when I arrive at that page should be driving me to, for example, the phone call. If you're going to have video on the page, which you should have, that should be pushing and promoting the phone call. So one good test is to go to your page, your website, or better still, get somebody who's not familiar with it to go and say, can you tell me within like 15 seconds what you think I want you to do on this page? And see if they give you a clear answer. Because one of the challenges, we're all so close to our business, that can be a difficult thing to do. So number one, in terms of conversions, you've got to have a clear purpose. Number two, you must be using online video. You must have good online video. And there are numbers of reasons for this. Basically, video converts well. But the biggest issue is mobile. And I'll talk about mobile in a second. People on phones, if you watch people surf on phones, they have zero patience, right? They want everything like this. They're being distracted by texts and pings and WhatsApp and all the rest of it. If you don't grab their attention really quick, you got a problem. And if you, again, watch people on the phone, the only thing that does seem to get people's attention and get them to stop, when you watch people, you're sitting on a train and you see people doing something, when do they stop? They normally stop when they hit a video. They arrive at a video, they're like, normally on Facebook or maybe YouTube or something. So if we can get a good video, ideally like at the top of your homepage, it does a couple of things. It gets people to stop and take some immediate action. But it also gives you a minute or two to convey the message. What it gets you is people's attention. The most important word in marketing today is attention, because it's the hardest thing to get because everybody is so distracted. So video is really good. And the third thing I've already referred to a couple of times, but is so critical, is your mobile strategy. You've got to have a clear mobile strategy. So on average now across the board, we're seeing the mobile number has hit 70%. And what that means is 70% of most people going to the typical website are on a mobile phone. And sometimes it's 63%, and sometimes it's 75%, but it's around that mark. Put it this way, it's always over 50% these days. So the person on that phone, your website needs to capture their interest and attention. We've talked about one way to do that, which is video. But I'll give you a very simple strategy before we get into the complicated stuff. And you'd be surprised how few people do this. You've got to go through your website on a phone thoroughly and check that everything is easy to use and easy to see and easy to follow. We see in e-commerce, for example, people having huge difficulties with this. They've got a site and the owner of the business looks on the site on a computer and it's fine, but get them on a phone and, oh, I've never actually seen this. And then to make things even more challenging, you might look at your site on your phone. You might own an iPhone, for example, and you might look and it's fine, but find a friend with an Android, like a Galaxy phone, and go look at it, and it will be completely different for some reason. So you've got to be aware of your mobile presence, what it looks like, and you've got to have a mobile, what we call a mobile first strategy. And what that basically means is a complete 180 on how we used to build websites. So we used to build, even like 4 years ago, we'd build a website for what it looked like on a computer screen, wouldn't you? You'd build a website, you'd talk to your web designer, you'd look at it on your computer screen, they'd look at it on their computer screen, and you'd probably make it mobile friendly as a sort of icing on the cake, so that at least it worked on mobile. Well, now it's the other way around. If 70% of people are on mobile, you need to build it for mobile first, so it's a great experience on mobile, and then almost the computer is the icing on the cake. So once you get into all this, once you understand conversion and traffic and the relationship between the two and the purpose of your site and video and mobile, you break free from the internet sales myth. This myth that, well, just having this website, that's a nice thing to do and that will bring you in the customers, and it's just not true. There is an art and a science to online marketing and conversion. It's why the most important thing, I said at the beginning, for your success in the year ahead, yes, it's all these things, but the most important thing is mastering the marketing. So, number 2, the internet sales myth. Number 3, one of my favorite subjects, which is the power of premium pricing. The power of premium pricing. So, let's remember our 3 ways to grow a business. If the first one was getting more customers, we've just talked about one of the ways to do that, website conversion. But number 2 is getting the customers to spend more, wasn't it? And we said one of the core ways to do that is to increase your prices. So pricing is actually as effective a way of growing your sales this year and your profits this year as is new customer acquisition. And as we saw when we lined up all those figures, if you do both, if you get good at marketing, work on the customers, and work on the pricing, you get this double whammy building up. So I love this subject because it's one of the easiest, fastest ways to really boost the business. So first of all, what do we mean by premium pricing? What we basically mean is you charging, first of all, the prices you deserve for the work you've done and for the great product or service that I assume you have. And secondly, for you to be able to actually proudly charge more than the competition and not lose customers when you do it. That's the magic premium pricing, is to be more than the competition and that the customers couldn't care less. So if you wanted and everybody thinks everyone's obsessed about price. So let's say you wanted a new mobile phone, okay? And you go out there and new mobile phone. What do most people go out and buy? They go and buy an iPhone. And Apple are the best example of premium pricing. They're way more expensive than almost everybody else, way more. And their customers are delighted to be in that position. So, again, I want to be really transparent with you. These are big subjects, you know. I'm going to give you some fast stuff you can implement, but mastering marketing involves a bit of, obviously, time and effort. So we could spend 2 days in a room somewhere, if we were allowed to, just talking about premium pricing. But let me give you some things you can use straight away. So first of all, the most important thing about this actually is you and your mindset. Again, it's another myth. So the big myth about pricing, and you may have heard me talking about this before, but it's so critical. The big myth about pricing is the myth that everybody buys primarily based on price. The myth that when your customers decide whether or not to buy from you, the thing that's driving their decision, the number one thing, is price. And if you're not competing with everybody else, then you got a major issue. And I'll tell you one thing, most business owners are way too obsessed about their competition. Sure, you need to know what the competition is doing and all the rest of it. But you got to be careful, because if you end up battling it out at the low end on price, you're doomed, okay? So here's the myth. So the myth is everybody's obsessed about price, and that's the thing that drives everybody. I'm sorry, it's bullshit. It's complete nonsense. And you've only got to look at how the world functions to see that it's nonsense. Now, everybody wants you to believe it, right? So Your customers definitely want you to believe it. I mean, think of when you buy something, particularly as a business owner, maybe from a service provider. If you're any good at all at negotiation, you're going to hit them on price and question on price and all the rest of it, right? It's basics. So you, as a business owner, are hearing that all the time. People, don't know about that, I've got to be careful with the price and all the rest of it. So they want you to think everyone's obsessed with price. The culture kind of wants to have everybody think that price is the thing, because being careful with your spending is something that certainly in our current culture is deemed to be a really good thing. It wasn't always the case. In the 80s, chucking money around was socially kind of rewarded. Well, now that's frowned upon, and being careful is socially rewarded. So there's a lot of cultural pressure. Oh yes, price is the most important thing. Only problem is, as I've said, it's nonsense. So here's how you prove it. When we're done today, if you're allowed out, or you may have to imagine this, because if you live somewhere that's completely locked down or something. But anyway, in normal times, when you're allowed out, go to your nearest town or city and have a look around. If everybody bought primarily on price, this is what you would see. Everybody would be wearing the cheapest clothes, because price is the most important thing when you buy clothes. Everybody will be buying the cheapest and wearing the cheapest shoes. The ladies would be holding the cheapest handbags. Every car you saw would be the cheapest possible brand and model you could buy, because price is the most important thing. And when everybody goes on vacation, remember vacations? They went, to down the street to the nearest beach somewhere. They'd never got on aeroplanes or anything, because that's not the cheapest. And, when it comes to food, everybody eats the cheapest food. Do I have to keep going? It's complete and utter nonsense. We do not buy primarily on price. Sure, it's a factor. And it's a factor more for some people than others. Now, there is a percentage of the population, and they've tested this, it's 15%, 1-5. 15% of the population do buy primarily on price. They're the people who call you up and they say, I want a price, and if you're not the cheapest, I ain't buying from you. You let them go. You give them a big smile and kick them the hell away, okay? You do not want them anywhere near you. First of all, they're going to pressure you all the time, and you're just going to be pressured on price. But the other thing is, aren't they the biggest pain in the neck when you get them as customers? So there's a few, but you don't want them. Now, the rest of the population, sure, price is in the mix and it's a factor, but it is not the determining thing. And once you appreciate that, you have taken the first step towards what we call price freedom. Price freedom. Price freedom is what I said. It's being able to charge what you deserve. What really bugs me about this subject when I speak to business owners is when I do seminars, I say to everybody in the room, look, there might be 800 of you in the room and I might not know you all yet, but I can predict something with certainty. Every single one of you, you are not charging enough. And I can predict that based on all the conversations I've had with thousands of people over the years. People are never charging enough. And what annoys me about that is partly they're missing out on profits. But the other thing that really gets me is you've taken this huge jump of becoming a business owner, becoming an entrepreneur. You've invested, blood, sweat and tears into it, days, nights, months, years. You've created hopefully a great product or service. And in many cases, people are not being rewarded financially what they deserve. They're not being paid what they deserve. And I really hate that. So price freedom is you being able to charge what you deserve. Sure, it has a powerful impact on your profits. But more than that, it has a powerful impact, I think, on our well-being and our feeling as business owners. So premium pricing has a whole there's a whole art and science to it. But a couple of quick things. First of all, you and I have something in common. We are the worst people to set the prices in our business, right? You shouldn't be setting your prices, and I shouldn't be setting my prices. We're too close to our businesses. The people who should be setting your prices are your customers. And you do that not by asking them, Okay, if Apple had gone out and said to people 10 years ago, how much would you like to pay for a mobile phone? Average mobile phone these days, $150, $200, pounds. What would you like to pay? If they'd gone and asked 100 customers, would even one of them said, oh, about $1,000, please? Which is what they're now charging for some of their phones. Of course not. You don't get your customers choose by asking them, you do it by testing. What Apple did was they went out and all the phones around were like 150, 200. So they started off at 300 and 400 and that worked. So they increased the prices and they went up to 500 and 600 and they gradually tested and tested and tested and looked for the limit, what we call price elasticity. It's like stretching an elastic band. How far can you stretch it? And they found they've reached their limit in many cases now. People don't want to go above 1,000. But imagine if they'd stopped at 450. They'd be a very different business. So my point is, how do you set your prices? You test them. So the number one thing to do with your prices is go out tomorrow and test a 10% price increase. And in 99% of cases, people won't bat an eyelid. The other really cool thing to do with price, and there's about 27, 28 premium pricing strategies, but one other really good one is to add what we call the VIP option. So the example I always give is handbags because everybody can relate to it. So if you have a shop selling $100 handbags and that's all you sell, if you create $1,000 handbag, which obviously is worth it, is of that value, somewhere between 5 and 15% of the customer base will buy the 1,001 instead. So the golden rule is in every customer list, including yours, there's at least 5 to 10% of the customers who are currently doing business with you who will spend up to 10 times the cost of your current most expensive offering if you present it to them and if it has the value. I'll say that again because it will make some of you a lot of money. Within your customer list, there's 5 to 10% of the people in there that we call the affluent, the wealthier buyers. Doesn't matter whether you sell to consumers or businesses. And they will spend up to 10 times the cost of your current most expensive offering if you come up with something for them. And by the way, that's a really important recession immunization strategy, because one of the ways you protect yourself from the recession is you go, okay, there are people out there who sadly don't have access to the money that they had a year or two ago, but there are people who do, and actually there are the wealthy still in there. It becomes even more important to identify that wealthy buyer. But I love premium pricing. It is a great strategy. And it's a big subject. My hope here today, particularly if you're newer to me in my world, I hope I get you to fall in love with the idea of getting really good at marketing. Because the only part of the word marketing you need to pay attention to is the first letter M, because it stands for money. This is about making money, and significant amounts of money. And if you are willing to go on that kind of journey, I love the subjects of pricing, partly because it's kind of psychological as well. It's a really interesting subject. If I've got time later, I'm going to come back to that. But number 4, so quick recap, quick glass of water, thirsty work. So of our 7 essential strategies to increase your profits by 50% to 250%, do you start to get an idea now of how those numbers might be a bit more achievable for you? Number 1 was the 3 ways to grow your business. Get more customers, get them to spend more, get them to buy more frequently, and that 100% increase becomes quite achievable. Number 2 was to get your mind completely free from the internet sales myth, follow the traffic conversion formula, and do all that work we talked about on the internet. And number 3 is the power of premium pricing. Number 4 is to tap the customer gold mine. I alluded to this earlier, again, when we were talking about the 3 ways to grow your business. So remember the 3 ways: more customers, get them to spend more, and number 3, increase the number of times people purchase. Get them to spend from you more often. In plain English, what does that mean? It means sell more to your existing customers. When I go into a business or I take on a new private client, I'm looking for a quick cash boost. I'm looking for something that gives them a quick, depends on the size of the business. If they're a smaller business, a quick 10, 20, 30 grand. If they're a larger business, a quick 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. And pretty much every time, the easiest way to do that is to go to your customers. It's to go to your customers and have them give you the money you need. Because every business has in it, I say tap the customer gold mine, I really mean it. You are sitting on a gold mine in your business. You are sitting on gold. And the gold, probably untapped at the moment, is the relationship you have with your customers. People who've decided to spend money with you. We were doing our year-end accounts recently, and one of the conversations with our accountants, we were talking about assets and assets in the business, and they go through all these things that are supposed to be assets, that whatever. They of course ignore, because technically it's not an accounting thing, the absolute number one asset in your business and my business and every business. The biggest asset in the business are the customers, the relationship with the customers. Whether you've got 10 customers or 1,000, you've got 10 people or 1,000 people, or whatever your number is, who made the decision to buy from you, who gave you money, and who hopefully had a good experience. That's an incredible asset. If someone who knows what they're doing with marketing came into that business and mined that gold well, they'd make a lot of money. Okay? So most people, and I'm just going to be very blunt and upfront about this, and that's the way I am. Just so you know, most people are terrible at selling more to their existing customers. And they kind of know it, and it's almost not their fault. It's like there's so much to do in a business day to day. There's so much urgent stuff that comes up every day. Finding a way to sell more to your existing customers isn't kind of urgent necessarily, but it actually is, because it's really critical. Because without it, your business is kind of like a treadmill of having to keep getting new customers coming in. Now, we want to keep getting new customers coming in, but we want them coming into a highly, highly profitable business. We don't want them coming into something where if we don't get some more customers next week, we haven't got enough cash to pay the rent or whatever it might be. And without, when they come in, nurturing a relationship and having them buying from you over time, the business is losing out. But most of all, they're just so much easier to sell to. You've probably heard these statistics that an existing customer is 10 times easier to sell to than a brand new customer. That is complete nonsense. They are at least 50 times easier. In every statistic I can show you, a marketing test I can show you, they are normally 50 to 100 times easier to sell to than a new customer. I mean, try it. Pick someone out of a phone book and try and sell something to them, and call one of your top 20 customers and try and sell something to them, and see how different it feels, okay? So you have gold here. So we all understand that, and we all get the importance. So how do we, how do we actually action that? So, couple of concepts here. The first is what we call frequency. So frequency is how often you communicate to people. And again, people are really, really ineffective at communicating to people frequently enough. Now, there's all different ways to communicate, obviously, but the obvious one that, I think we can all relate to is email and email marketing. So one of the reasons that people like me, excuse me, I have a little cough, go on and on and on about email marketing is because email marketing is rarely about getting new customers, maybe to leads and prospects. But the reason I go on about email marketing is it's to do this. It's to get your customers spending more money with you. And if you're not sending 2 or 3 emails a week to your existing customers and finding a reason to do that, it's just crazy. I'm just being sort of polite about it, but it is daft, isn't it? Because first of all, emails are free to send pretty much. And these people are sitting there, you have that relationship with them. And look, you know this, don't think of your life as a consumer of other people's stuff. Okay, isn't it true that often you wished you were being communicated to more by people? I had a pair of shoes arrive yesterday. In this new world we're living in, I'm now in the world of buying shoes online. So I've never done that before. Nice pair of shoes, over $100, pounds. Open up the box, and I've never bought this brand of shoes before either. So I was kind of, are they okay? Get the shoes out. They're kind of soft, casual shoes, just for being around the house. Put on the shoes. Really nice. Think, oh, these are nice. Like, I'm pleased I brought this brand. What else have they got? Pick up the box to look for the brochure or insert or whatever it might be that's in there, and there's nothing there. There's nothing there. So this is what I mean by they now have a relationship with me. I've chosen to spend the money, and I'm happy with the experience. Okay, that is an asset. And they haven't even put something in the mailing that is free to mail to me because they're already paying for the shoes to be sent to me. All they've got to do is print the thing. They haven't even put it in there. And it's the same with email. Okay, and I bet you I don't get many emails from them either. So here's my view on the entrepreneurial life, all right? A lot of things about running a business are really hard, aren't they? You don't need me to tell you that. Really hard. And in this blooming world we're living in, they can be really, really hard. So when the universe gives you something on a plate that is really easy, and there's easy money to be made, don't turn it away. First of all, it's crazy. Secondly, I'd go further than that. I've spent a lot of time, I'm fascinated by the subject of money and wealth and how money moves. And what I discovered over the years is when you talk to successful, very wealthy people, it's really interesting. When you ask them about money, they talk about money as if it's like a real living thing. And in many cases, they have a sort of respect in their voice. If you're in the States, you've watched probably Shark Tank. So for those of you outside of America, Shark Tank is the US version of Dragon's Den. And there's a guy on there called Kevin O'Leary, known as Mr. Wonderful. And he has this phrase. His phrase is, I love money and money loves me. And when he says it, his eyes light up. And he's kind of being playful, but he's kind of serious as well about how he treats money. And my point is this. What a lot of wealthy people will say to you is don't disrespect money. If money comes knocking at your door, don't slam the door in its face, because the universe tends to work in some kind of way I certainly don't understand, that it doesn't like that. I know this might sound a bit sort of up in the trees, but I'm just telling you my personal experience. And if the universe comes along and says to you, hey, you got these customers, they like buying from you, they've got money, there's stuff they want, and not only that, but here's a way to communicate to them by email that's free. Don't shut that door in money's face. So frequency is a big one. So with email, at least 2 or 3 emails a week. Now, people say, oh, isn't that a bit much? It's only a bit much if you're constantly flogging stuff to them. If you build a relationship with email, if you share personal stories on email, if you alternate between an email that sells something and an email that has some useful information or tips for your customers, they'll be perfectly happy to receive 2 or 3 emails a week. I brought on a new private client recently who are an e-commerce business who do really well, really smart. And I said, how many emails did you send in the run up to Christmas? Like from October to December. And they sent 1 a week, which is more than actually most people are doing. And they're obviously tearing around doing 101 things. And that's what they did. I said, well, you're going to have a good Christmas this year because we're going to send 1 every day from October to December. And we're going to work this year on a strategy that will have them happy to receive 1 every day. Okay, if you go in the 2 months up to Christmas from sending 8 emails to 60 emails, you're going to make a lot more money. So email is a good example of tapping the customer goldmine and selling more to your existing customers, but it's not the only way. So what you need in your business is kind of a marketing process for selling to existing customers exactly in the same way that you would have a process for selling to new customers. And that's going to consist of things like emails. It's also going to be remarketing. Remarketing is the thing where someone comes to your website or you've got a customer list and you can communicate to them again on Facebook and Google and YouTube. So you can upload your customer list into Facebook and just serve posts to them. Everybody should be doing that. And then sometimes, particularly if you've got a larger business, going offline. And I just talked about the brochure in the pack of the e-commerce, the shoe company, direct mail. And that kind of thing can work really, really well. But the biggest thing about this is to just really grasp the opportunity of the money that is almost sitting there, almost certainly untapped in your current customer list, and how this relates back. Remember I said at the beginning, the 3 ways to grow your business is the foundation to everything, okay, to get you that 100% plus profit increase. Well, in our little formula we went through, how many more times did you need to get your customers to buy from you each year? It wasn't 100%. It wasn't, okay, they buy from me twice, let's get them to 4 times, which would be 100% increase. It was a measly 30%, all right? So you can do this and we can do this. And our partnership together, I use the word a lot, partnership. My relationship with you as a customer or client or a VIP member, whatever it is, it's a partnership. Our partnership in the months and years ahead, I hope, is going to be really going to work on having those 3 things happen that get you that 100% increase. And you know what? When you've done that once, then you do it again. So number 4 is tap the customer goldmine. Number 5 is kind of everything I've been talking about here. And it's not a strategy. It's not you do this and then you do this. It's not something you do on your webpage. Number 5 is about you. Number 5 is the vital importance of adopting the marketing mindset. The marketing mindset. Here's what I mean by this, and here's why this is so crucial. So when I do seminars, and obviously in normal times we do these big events, we have like our annual Entrepreneur Summit, we have 800, 900 people come, spend a couple of £1,000 and dollars. For 3 days, we just immerse ourselves in all of this. And one of the things I'll do at an event like that is I'll ask this question. I'll say to the audience, what business are you in? Tell me the business you're in. And people will raise their hands and people will say, well, I'm a wedding photographer. And someone else will say, I'm a manufacturer. Someone else will say, I'm a consultant or I'm a coach. Someone else will be a temping agency. You name it, they're there in the room. So we do all that, we go through the process, and I go, well, thank you for that, but you're all wrong, right? Now, obviously, you're not wrong because you are in that business, but that's not the real business that you're in. If you want to change your business life and actually change your entire life, the thing to really grasp is that the actual business you're in is the marketing business. Because marketing just means getting customers. The real business you're in as an entrepreneur is the getting customers business. And what I mean by that is the thing you do and the thing you're good at, and I'm sure really, really good at, the product service you create and sell, we understandably think that that's what our entire business is about. But the harsh truth is, and it needs to be said, and I know it's a harsh truth, the harsh truth is it doesn't matter how good you are at delivering whatever it is that you deliver. It doesn't matter the quality of that. Now, it matters to the point where if it wasn't there, if you weren't good, if the quality wasn't good, obviously that would matter. But having a great product or service, it just gets you through the door. All it does is get you on the football pitch to play the game. It has virtually nothing to do with winning. The thing that's going to make the difference that's going to make the difference is your ability to get people to buy that thing and to do business with you. And that's the core business that you're in. Because one of the biggest frustrations I hear from business owners when they do talk about the competition we tend to attract really great entrepreneurs. Could be a small startup, could be a multi-million dollar or pound business. It's the whole range. But the people we tend to attract are kind of success driven. And so they tend to be really good at what they do. And they tend to have a really, really good product or service. And when I talk to them, and when they do talk about the competition, a lot of the time people are really frustrated because they know full well that what you do is better than the competition. The way you deliver your product or service or the quality of what you make is better than the competition. And yet in many cases, the competition can be doing as well, and let's be honest about it, better than you. And that's because there comes a point, as I say, where quality isn't what it's about. Quality is essential, but it's not going to pay your bills. And it's certainly not going to give you financial freedom. What's going to give you financial freedom is you mastering the art and science of getting customers. So what I say to business owners is, look, if you want me to be really honest with you, you should be spending at least 50% of your time and energy working on the marketing, working on the getting customers. Now people go, I couldn't possibly do that because I've got this and that. And I understand the challenges of business and I get that it's not always achievable. But should that be a goal for you? Yes. Because if you're spending any less time and attention than that, you are not focusing on the thing that's going to make a difference. On the thing, we're talking about doubling your sales and your profits. Making your product a lot better isn't going to do that. You know, I wish it was. It's really annoying, isn't it? I really wish that we were rewarded for the quality of what we did. It isn't the case. So there is a shift that every successful entrepreneur makes. And again, when they make that shift, they're really setting themselves free. It's the shift from my job is like working on this thing I do every day to actually really, yes, obviously that's the business I'm in, but I'm also really in the marketing business. As the owner of this business, if I can get really good at getting customers, if I can get really good at the marketing and master the subject, not do it all, you don't necessarily want to be doing it all. You don't want to be doing computer code on a web page, but you do need to understand online marketing so that the person who does that page for you is, number one, doing it properly, and number two, you'll know whether or not they're doing it properly. And it's a very liberating shift because marketing is it's a bit like selling. George Foreman, you know, the boxer, George Foreman, made the toaster thing, whatever it is, the oven. He said, yeah, he wants his kids to do well at school and all the rest of it, but the number one thing he wants them to learn is the art of selling. He said, because if they can sell, they'll never have a problem paying the mortgage. They'll never have a problem. Sure, they might go and get a job, they might get fired from that job, but if they can sell, they'll get another job. And for business owners, it's like that with marketing. If you know how to get customers, the worst case scenario is you get knocked down by the kind of events we're living through now, but you just get up again and apply those skills where it could be properly applied. So I wanted to just really hone on this, and that's the reason number 5 is the vital importance of adopting the marketing mindset. Because if I just give you all these strategies and you think, oh yeah, there you go, I'm going to implement this, that and the other, without making that shift, then it's just not the same. So I'm going to talk to you in a bit about how you and I can do that together and have you really master the art and science of marketing. But let me crack on because these last two are really, really good. So number 6, we call double your traffic and double your profits. Okay, so remember earlier when we talked about online marketing, I said online marketing only boils down to 2 things. It's traffic and it's conversion. And we spent some time looking at conversion and ways for you to use things like online video to get your conversions higher. And I said I'd come back to the other half of that equation, which is traffic. And obviously, while you don't need to double your traffic to double your profits for the reasons we've described, the fact remains, if you do, you will, meaning that if you've got a business now where a significant amount of either your inquiries or sales are coming from your website, if we could double the number of good people coming to your website, everything's going to double. And of course, if you do that and layer on the premium pricing and selling more to your existing customers because you've mastered marketing, now you're taking off. So although you only need a 30% increase in traffic to hit our formula of the 3 ways to grow your business and get you that 100% increase in sales and profits, that's not my goal for you. My goal for you is a minimum 100%, because doing this day in, day out with all our clients and people who spend millions on online marketing and advertising, doubling your traffic is not that difficult. So how do you double your traffic to double your profits? Primarily in 2021, you're going to do that with 3 prime online platforms, and they are Facebook, Instagram, and Google. Facebook, Instagram, and Google. So again, this is a 3-day subject which I'm about to condense into a few minutes, but let me attempt to do that. So the first thing is you've got to be clear what you want to be doing on Facebook and Instagram and Google. And what you don't want to be doing is all this kind of vague, airy-fairy stuff that produces very ambiguous results that you can't measure. So search engine optimization, for example, on Google is now virtually a complete waste of time. It's a waste of time and effort. SEO died about 6 or 7 years ago. I tried to get permission to I was going to do a funeral for SEO in Hyde Park in London, but they wouldn't let us. It's not that you can't manipulate Google a bit and get somewhere on the search engines. There's 2 problems with this. The first is if Google find out, Google don't like it. They really don't like it. And if they find out you're doing it in ways they don't like, best case scenario, you'll drop down the listings. Worst case scenario, they'll ban you from the listings. So that's a slight problem. But second, even if they're okay with it, and even if you go and do all this work, and let's say we get you into position 3 in the search results on Google. Well, on Google, the first 3 or 4 listings are pay-per-click ads. And so you got, let's say, 4 of those listings. You're now in number 3 of the free listings. You're actually on the 7th position on the page. Forget about it. No one's going to see it. On a phone, no one's scrolling down that far. So you don't want to be doing that. On Google, you want to be doing pay-per-click advertising. And as you may know as well, I'm the only person in the world teaching, sharing, training this who has spent $5 million, £4 million of my own money on pay-per-click advertising on Google. So you want to be doing pay-per-click on Google. And the same thing applies on Facebook and Instagram. So we lump Facebook and Instagram together because Facebook owns Instagram. And if you can get on Facebook and run what we call sponsored posts, which are these posts that appear up in people's news feeds, Facebook will learn how to get you customers in a brilliant, brilliant way. So let me give you the quick overview on what you should be doing, whether or not you're currently on Google, Facebook, Instagram. And obviously I'm going to do this quickly just because of time. But again, I hope you get, like when I discovered pay-per-click, it was the year they got started, which was like, what was it? It was like 2004 or something like that. I remember when it began, I locked myself in a room on Friday afternoon and came out on Monday morning because I just thought this is the coolest thing ever, and it remains the coolest thing ever. So first of all, Google. If you're not currently doing pay-per-click, the reason you must be doing it on Google is because every hour probably people are searching either for directly what you sell or for something related to what you sell. And if you're not there, your competitors will be there. That's one reason. It's also great for local businesses. You can really own the local marketplace. And the best thing about pay-per-click is it's very measurable. It's called pay-per-click. You only pay when somebody clicks and comes through to your website. So if you're not currently doing it, you've got to be doing it. If you are doing Google and you're established, one of the things you really need to understand is that the last year, 2 years really, has seen a massive revolution on Google and a move actually away from the pay-per-click model to where Google uses its machine learning and artificial intelligence to learn how to get you customers. So you can now go into Google, and instead of saying I want to pay £1 or $1 per click, you can say, Google, I'm not going to do pay per click with you. I'm going to pay you a certain amount every time you get me a customer, or every time you get somebody to phone me. It's called cost per action. Cost per action, and it is mind-blowing. And the wonderful thing is you can do it, you can be a large business obviously, but you could be a small startup accessing the same powerful strategies as your competitors. So we love Google. Facebook and Instagram, kind of the same but different. So the difference is on Google, people are actively searching and looking for what you've got to offer, which is why you gotta be there. Facebook and Instagram is different. People on Facebook obviously are doing other things, and we're going to kind of come along and grab their attention. But the magic on Facebook is that it has so much information about its users that it can find people with great precision. I mentioned wedding photographers earlier. So for example, there's an audience in Facebook of people getting married. It knows if someone's getting married by their behaviors online, by the sites they're looking at and that kind of thing. You're probably not looking at wedding dress websites unless you're either getting married or have some interesting hobbies, right? So it knows, and so it will serve ads just to the people getting married. It same works in B2B. You can do really amazing targeting. And then the other big breakthrough on Facebook is this thing called lookalike audiences, where you put your customers into Facebook and it goes off and it finds people who look like your customers. But that perfect marriage, if you will, of doing really good marketing on Facebook and Instagram, on Google, if this is what I meant at the beginning, where I said, look, if you're not doing that kind of thing now, you're going to be in a stratospheric different level. Screw the bloody pandemic. Let's just implement really world-class marketing in your business. And that leads me on to number 7, which, as I said at the beginning, none of these are more important than the others, but number 7 is really where the magic happens and really brings all this together. So number 7 is the transformative power of multiple marketing methods. The transformative power of multiple marketing methods. Here's what this means in plain English, all right? In plain English, most businesses, meaning over 90%, so if we surveyed everybody, and we've got 2,000 people here today, 2,000 business owners across the world, if we surveyed all of you, we would find that probably 94 or 95% of you are only using 1 or 2 ways to get customers into your business. For various reasons, most businesses end up just using 1 or 2 ways to get customers. So some people are doing Google, and Google's their thing, and that's how they get customers. Some people, again, in more normal times, love doing things like trade shows, and trade shows is their way of getting customers. Some people do really well from referrals, word of mouth recommendation. That's how they grow their business. But nearly everyone has this favored way, one way, sometimes 2, of getting customers and growing a business. Well, it boils down to a really simple question. If you can run either a reasonably successful or perhaps very successful business using just 1 or 2 ways to get customers, what would happen if you used 5 or 10 or 15? What would happen is obviously the business would skyrocket. And so when we talk about the transformative power of multiple marketing methods, what you find in most sectors, most markets, is there might be 20 businesses in your marketplace, there might be 50, there might be 1,000. There's normally only 1 or 2 at the top. And one of the core things that sets them apart and really sets the entrepreneur millionaire apart from everybody else the obvious thing is the owner of that business has made a decision to get good at marketing, but they're implementing that by then going out and using multiple marketing methods. Look, you don't have to be Einstein. If a man or lady from Mars comes down and I explain what a business is, and I say, I've got two business owners here. This person's using one method to get customers. This person's using 10. Who do you think is going to be most successful? And how much more successful? Are they going to be a little bit more or tons more? So we do a lot of work with entrepreneurs on how to make that happen in your business. So that if you are currently only doing one or two ways of doing business, of getting customers, what if by the end of 2021 you were implementing 10 and you had that happening in your business? Would that make a small difference or would that make a massive difference? So for example, now there's more than 10, but to give you some examples, maybe that would be Google. We've talked about getting customers from Google, Facebook, Instagram. YouTube is emerging as a really good way to get customers. YouTube's owned by Google. Email marketing, we've talked about the power of email. Online marketing, really, really important. Getting on the phone to customers, which, because everyone's obsessed with the internet these days, is really being ignored in a lot of cases and shouldn't be. Same with direct mail. Doing things like sending postcards in the mail is really effective. Text marketing, if it's done properly and with permission and carefully, can do really, really well. And I mentioned referrals. I love referrals because they're free, right? Word of mouth recommendation, they're free. So what would happen if instead of having one or two ways to grow your business, you had all 10 happening? People go, well, this is a great concept, but how do I do that? I haven't got a huge budget. So here's one way you could do it. Every month this year, try, not 5 of them, do it if you want, but what if you tried just one? Assuming you're going to get good at understanding how marketing works, what if you tried just one every month? At the end of the year, you'd have tried 12. Let's say 2 didn't work very well. You've still got 10 marketing methods to get you in new customers. So do you get a sense of how this all comes together? And you get a sense when I talked at the beginning about 100% increase in your profits in the year ahead, which is what I've been doing for the last 20 plus years and have that proven track record of doing. This is how people do it. So quick recap, okay? And imagine this is your business, all right? So quick recap on our 7 strategies. Imagine throughout 2021, you really, really adopt and go to town on the 3 ways to grow your business. You're focused on getting customers, new customers. You're focused on increasing how much they spend through things like premium pricing and through getting them to spend more frequently by selling more to your existing customers. And you only need a 30% increase in the new customers, a 20% increase in the spend, and a 30% increase in repeat customers, and you've got your 100% increase. How are we going to do that? You're going to get very good at internet marketing. We're going to knock this internet sales myth on the head that build it and they will come. We're going to really focus on traffic and conversions. You're going to implement the power of premium pricing so that you run a premium pricing business. You're going to tap that customer gold mine by really, really maximizing all of the sales you can to your current customers. Driving all of this is that you understand the vital importance of the marketing mindset. You make that decision. It's the most important decision a business owner can make to get very good at marketing. Number 6, double your traffic, double your profits. You have Facebook, Instagram, and Google working for you. And number 7, the transformative power of multiple marketing approaches. So, if that is something you want to make happen in 2021, I am doing something pretty amazing and extraordinary, which nobody knows about, and I'm announcing here today to enable this to happen for you. I have, for the last 3 or 4 years, been focused almost exclusively on growing what effectively is the agency side of my business, working with people on their websites and their Google ads and my private clients. but I am acutely aware both of the challenges people are having in this current world, and therefore the real vital importance of doing what we're talking about, which is mastering marketing, but also this great opportunity. So I wanted to kick off this year by doing something really special with a number of our wonderful clients and members from across the world. So over these 2 decades that I have been doing this, our flagship program has been Ultimate Marketing. You may have heard about it. And we first did Ultimate Marketing, I think it's 21 years ago. I haven't actually done one for, I think it's 3 years, because we've been so focused on this. But I wanted to do this to make 2021 something really, really special for you. So today, I am announcing Ultimate Marketing 2021. And Ultimate Marketing 2021 is a 10-week journey that you and I embark on together to make this year an extraordinary one for you. So here's what Ultimate Marketing is all about, and how this is going to be just a massive game changer for you and your business, and quite an exclusive chance for you and I to work together over 10 weeks, really, as I say, transforming your business. So Ultimate Marketing is, first of all, it's a real passion of mine, because as I say, we've been doing this in various versions for over 2 decades. So it's our flagship program, and it's the program, the reason I love it, it's the thing that's produced our champions. So we have a whole bunch of people. If we do like a big 3-day entrepreneur summit where like 800 business owners come and spend $2,000 to spend 3 days with me. And one of the things we do is we bring on our champions, the entrepreneur millionaires, the people who started with perfectly ordinary businesses. They were startups doing 50 or 100 grand, or they got to 200 or 300,000, and then they became 7-figure business owners. And almost without exception, they did Ultimate Marketing. So it has really 2 core purposes. The first is to ensure that you, as the owner of your business, master completely the most important subject in business, which is the acquisition of customers, marketing, online marketing, websites, and everything linked to that. But obviously not just you knowing it, the second key objective is that you actually take action and implement everything we've been talking about, that 3-step model to get you that minimum 100% profit increase. And on that, we do have a couple of qualifying criteria. So we have 2,000 people on here from across the world, from throughout USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Asia, UK, and Europe. And for reasons I'll get to, I would love to have like 1,000 people on this course. I can't, because for reasons I'll explain, it has some kind of personal support. So we have some qualifying criteria. The main one, doesn't matter what type or size of business you're in, but the main one is you've got to be really seriously committed to at least doubling your profits in 2021, because that's what this program is all about. So it's about the real implementation of everything we're going to cover. So here's really what Ultimate Marketing is. It's a 10-week experience with you and me, and it has 2 core components. The first is 10 weekly live video seminars. So we will get together live each week, and we will pick one core subject to really focus on, and I will give you everything I know on that subject. So as the weeks build, you will master everything you need to know about marketing. I'll whiz through what those 10 topics are in a moment. So by the end of that, as I say, you have everything that I have and everything I do. So my private clients, for example, pay me $6,000 US a month to work with them directly, and this is what I do with them. So you're going to be a master of marketing by the time that we're done. So that's the first core key component. So the subjects we cover. So Seminar 1 is 10 marketing windfalls to immediately boost your profits. Seminar 2 is the 5 golden rules of marketing. Seminar 3 is website essentials, internet marketing for online profits. Seminar 4 is pricing for profits, a whole thing on premium pricing. These are live video seminars like we're doing now. And of course, we want you on the live events, but if for any reason you miss one or you're away or something, you'll get full access to the full recordings and actually lifetime access, and so will your team members. Seminar 5 is the power of Google and pay-per-click mastery. Seminar 6 is social media profits, the power of Facebook and Instagram marketing. Seminar 7 is advanced internet marketing. Seminar 8 is the marketing secrets of the entrepreneur millionaires. Seminar 9, sales and influence skills. And Seminar 10 is an advanced marketing masterclass. So 10 weeks together where we cover everything you need to know about mastering this vital subject of marketing, customer acquisition, online marketing, websites, Google, Facebook, you name it. So if that was all we were doing, it would be an incredible 10 weeks together. But there's another component to this, which is really crucial. So the way this works, to me, this is all about implementation. This is about you implementing this in your business. So we'll get together for the seminars, we'll cover a subject, and then between the live video seminars, you'll go off and you'll implement, you'll try something out, you'll take some action. And chances are you're going to have questions. And we don't want to just leave you in the lurch. So the second part of Ultimate Marketing is for 10 weeks, you get personal support from me and my team. So you will have access to an exclusive private members group on Facebook that only you and my team and the other members, the other entrepreneurs like yourself who are on the program have access to. And on there, you can ask me and my team anything about anything during the 10 weeks of Ultimate Marketing. And the other thing people love about that private members group is, although it's like primarily for that purpose, it's also where you get to meet and network with the other entrepreneurs on the program. And one of the lovely things, particularly this year, is this is a truly global program. We have people from everywhere. So we're going to have a load of people across the USA and Canada. As I mentioned at the beginning, we have a lot of customers now in Australia and New Zealand, and I'm excited about you Aussies and New Zealand folk coming on board, because I have to tell you, I don't know what it is, if there's something in the water there or something, you're so enthusiastic and you're so passionate. So that'll be great. And people from the UK and across Europe. Oh, and by the way, quick, while I think of it, for those of you in Australia and New Zealand, we also run the video seminar. If any of them are at times of the day that are a bit weird for you, we rebroadcast them live at 11 a.m. Australian time, so that it's easy for you to watch. So that won't be an issue at all. So those are the two core components of Ultimate Marketing: 10 live video seminars and then personal support from me. And this is a game changer of a program. So here's how we're doing this. So first of all, nobody knows about this. I wanted to announce this to my very best customers, the people who are up for coming on an event like this, because it is limited. Because of the personal support, I cannot have like 1,000 people on the program. It just wouldn't work. So, and we have a lot of customers. So who do we offer this to? We offer it to the best people first. So I wanted to do something special for you on here today, both as a thank you for the relationship we have, but also to recognize what's going on in the world. And I know that some people are having some issues and some challenges. So here's how the investment for Ultimate Marketing works. So first of all, whenever I do a program like this, I insist that it's effectively free for people, meaning the money they make easily pays for them being on the program. So this is designed for people to double their profits. And so whether you're a smaller business startup, maybe you're at 40 or 50,000, you want to get to 100,000, or you're at 200,000, want to get to 400, or you're at $1 million, want to get to $2 million. wherever you are, we could easily price this, and we've done programs like this before, in the kind of $5,000 to $10,000 range, because it's well worth it in terms of what you're getting for, and it will easily pay for itself. If you go from 100,000 to 200,000, then investing 5,000 or 6,000 to do it, no big deal. And honestly, in a normal world, that's what we would be doing. But I'm well aware of two things. First of all, as I said, there are some people having some significant challenges at the moment for obvious reasons, and I don't want that, because they're the people who really should be on this program. Secondly, we have an unprecedented number of newer businesses on board with us at the moment as customers, primarily because a lot of people started new businesses during 2020. Some people didn't have their jobs anymore and have taken that amazing, courageous step to become an entrepreneur. So I want to be supportive. We have a whole range. We'll have people on this course with $20 million businesses, but we'll have the new ones as well. So I wanted to do this in a way that everybody could participate. So when we announce this to the world, the full price for joining Ultimate Marketing will be $2,000. And it's well worth $2,000. You'll make that back in the first kind of half hour. But I wanted to do something, I'll say, really special for everybody who's on here today. So here's what we've done, and we're just going to do this in, I think, the fairest way that we possibly can. So we've set aside 100 places. Now, there are 2,000 people on here, so do bear that in mind. We're just going to be open, do this, tell everyone at the same time, and that's really the best I can do. We've set aside 100 places, and if you're one of those first 100 people, rather than $2,000, you get a massive thank you saving. So you can join Ultimate Marketing either for 3 monthly payments of $395, which is a saving of around $800. Or if you want to save another around about $200 and save $1,000 in total, you can do just one payment of $995. As I say, that will be effectively free for you. You will make that back in spades by the end of the first seminar. Also, we have a special bonus if you are not currently a member. Oh, what I'm going to do, by the way, is give out the web address in a minute at the same time to everybody. I think this is the fairest thing we can do. We will take the first 100, and then obviously that will cut off, and you can still join, but it will be at the $2,000 price. So we also have a special bonus. If you're not currently a member of my VIP Inner Circle, and lots of people on here are, but if by any chance you're not, this is the group that all our good customers and members are in. So the VIP group is how we stay connected across the year. So as a VIP member, you get several things that nobody else gets. You get my 24-page Business Breakthroughs newsletter in the mail, actually in the mail every month, because people like to sit down, have a cup of coffee or something and read it. You get that. You get exclusive online material and online seminars. You get access to a monthly Q&A call with me that only VIP members get. And there's a special VIP Inner Circle private group that you will also be able to join. If you're not currently a member, I'm going to give you a month's free membership because you'll want to be part of that, and you'll definitely want to be part of that during that program. So just to repeat, full price is $2,000. For the first 100 who come on board today, it's either 3 monthly payments of $395, so you can spread it if you want, or if you want to save an additional $200, it's just $995. One more thing, which is really big and important, and then I will give out the address to everybody at the same time. So, as you may have noticed, I'm passionate about this program because it has been our flagship program for 2 decades now. Now, obviously, this is a completely new version. The world has changed radically online even in the last year. However, its roots are, versions of this over the years, and I know the impact that this can make for you. This will be a game changer for you. This will probably be the game changer you've been waiting for in your business. I just know that from experience. And I know that with such certainty. And I am so sure that when you and I partner and work together for 10 weeks, I can have a massive impact on your business and everything around it. I'm so certain of that. I'm going to do something quite extraordinary. I'm going to give you the most powerful guarantee I've ever done. Here's how it works. Come on to the first 2 of the 10 video seminars. If by the end of seminar 2, you are not convinced that Ultimate Marketing is going to make you at least $10,000, just tell us and we'll refund your payment in full. You can leave the program. Now, how on earth can I do that? I can do that because I know with certainty. Listen, by the end of seminar 1, let alone seminar 2, you will be like thrilled at the money. This is going to make you a lot of money. What that guarantee means is there is now zero financial risk for you. Nothing to lose. What it means is you can only make money by making a decision now to come on board for Ultimate Marketing. You can only make money by doing it. Because either it's worth at least $10,000, it'll actually be worth considerably more than that, obviously. But it will either be worth at least $10,000, or if for some bizarre reason it's not, you'll get a refund and it won't cost you anything. So you can only make money. You can't lose money. The only way you lose out is if you don't grab one of these first 100 places. So let me give this out to everybody at the same time. A link should be appearing on the screen about now. Either click on that link or go to this website. If for some reason you can't see the link or it's not there or something, go to profits43.com. That's profits and the number 43.com. So www.profits43.com. You do want to do this now. This is for the first 100 people, and we have 1,000 people on here from across this planet of ours. So wherever you are, whether you're in the US, East, West, Middle, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Asia, UK, wherever you may be, go ahead and do this now. You have nothing to lose at all. What you do have and what will happen is this is going to be the beginning of 10 amazing weeks where we're going to do things and take your business to levels that you might not even have dreamed of. So let me just tell you quickly what we're going to cover in that 10 weeks. I did it very quickly just now. So Seminar 1 is 10 marketing windfalls to immediately boost your profits. So we've discovered that if I can give you some quick, fast cash boosters, if you're a smaller business and I can make you 7,000 here or 10,000 there or 20,000 there, or you're a larger business and we can get you a 50,000 or 100,000 immediate cash booster, that does a couple of things. Obviously it's nice because it puts money in the bank account, but it also boosts your kind of certainty and confidence about your marketing abilities and really gets things running. So in Seminar 1, we're going to cover 10 of those. That's why I said by the end of Seminar 1, you'll be absolutely delighted. Seminar 2, we're going to do the 5 golden rules of marketing. There are 5 core, absolute golden rules of marketing that are a game changer when you follow them, and they're the foundation of everything we're going to do, both on this program and I hope for many years to come. So we'll do that in Seminar 2. Video Seminar 3, we're going to go online, we're going to jump online, we're going to cover website essentials, internet mastery for online profits. So we're going to dig into your website. What needs to be happening on your website? What mistakes is your web designer possibly making? What changes need to be made? How do you implement video? How do you get the conversions going? Everything you need. It is vital, even when someone else is looking after your website, you must know either as much or more than them about online marketing. So we'll start that process in Seminar 3. Obviously, the internet is going to be a fundamental part of this whole program. Seminar 4 is pricing for profits. As I said earlier, one of my favorites. We're going to do an entire seminar on premium pricing. I told you earlier, there are over 20 ways for you to implement premium pricing in your business. So in this seminar, we're going to show you how to achieve price freedom in your business. I will tell you, again, from doing this over the years, just the number of people come to me and say, do you know what? If the only thing I attended was the seminar on premium pricing, it will be worth 5 times, 10 times the cost of coming. You will make a lot of money from Seminar 4. You really don't want to miss any of this. Seminar 5 is the power of Google. We're going to do an entire seminar on Google pay-per-click, Google AdWords. So if you're not doing it, we're going to show you what to focus on when you get started. If you are doing Google, I'm going to show you the big things that are so important now that have changed, whether it be your keyword strategy, your bidding, cost per action bidding, impression share. There's a whole ton of stuff. It's one of my favorite subjects. As I said, I have spent $5 million of my own money on Google. So hopefully I know what I'm talking about, and we'll cover that in the Google seminar. Seminar 6, social media profits. We're going to look at the power of Facebook and Instagram, and we're going to clear out the clutter, clear out the confusion. You will know precisely, everybody knows they should be doing something on Facebook and Instagram. Very few people know how to do this properly. You may have come across me and found me on Facebook and Instagram. I do know how to do this. So we're going to do an entire seminar on Facebook and Instagram. Seminar 7 is advanced internet marketing. We're going to look at things like, so we touched on email earlier, but we're going to cover things like, what should your email say? How important is the title? And the title is vital. How do we get people to open emails? What's the best time of day to send emails? What's the best day of the week to send emails? How often should you email people? How do you build frequency without irritating people? So we're going to do all that. We're also going to look at other elements of online marketing, advanced online marketing. We're going to do conversion rate optimization, which is the process of gradually increasing your conversion rates and kind of giving yourself a pay rise every week. We're going to do something called A/B split testing, which is a really cool way of improving your website. And obviously, driving all this is the mobile first approach we talked about earlier. How do you handle living in a mobile world? And if the future of your business depends on all these people on mobile phones, what do you need to do better than your competitors to win that customer? Seminar 8, you will enjoy. Seminar 8 is the marketing secrets of the entrepreneur millionaires. I fortunately get to spend a lot of time with entrepreneur millionaires. And it's really interesting. When it comes to marketing, there are 3 specific things that they literally all do that nobody else does. No struggling business owner does. And I'm going to share with you how to do those and implement those in Seminar 8. Seminar 9, we're going to shift gears and we're going to cover sales and influence skills. It's really interesting, you know. We set up our businesses, we focus on the products, and certainly my first business many moons ago, it feels like 100 years ago, was in radio sponsorship because my background was radio broadcasting. And I set up this business and did it all, and I had to go and pitch at advertising agencies, and I suddenly realized that I had no idea how to sell. Why would I? I'd been focused on my skill. I'd started this business, and of course it dawned on me, I'm now a professional. I looked in the mirror one day, I think, and said, you're now a professional salesperson. You've got to be good at this. And your team, anyone on your team has got to be good at it. So we're going to cover sales and influence skills. And then what happens when you master it for selling, it's very interesting because really it's how to influence other human beings. And of course, as a business owner, you're influencing people all the time, aren't you? You need to influence your team members. You might need to influence suppliers. So you do all that, and then you realize, sort of nice icing on the cake bonus, it's really useful in your personal life as well. You know, if you're in a relationship, it's kind of useful to understand how communication works. And, if you've got children, I had someone say many years ago, I thought that's a very wise thing. If someone's got children, someone's going to influence your children. It's either going to be the drug dealer or it's going to be you. So it should probably be you, so get good at influence skills. So this has all sorts of ripple effects. So it's so important. We're going to do an entire seminar on sales and influence skills. And then finally, Seminar 10, we're going to do an advanced marketing masterclass. We're going to look at things like referral strategies. So this is a really overlooked area. We've talked about all these cool things that you can do online, Google and Instagram and Facebook. But you know what? Still, despite all of that, if you had to say what's the best way to get customers, the number one best way is referrals, is word of mouth recommendations. First, because they're free. And second, because the people who come into your business having been referred are your best customers because they come in feeling really positive about you. But here's the problem. Everyone just waits for referrals to turn up. You can actually engineer. You can create referrals. So, and have a whole system and process. So we're going to cover that. We're going to cover joint ventures, risk elimination. So that's always, and some other stuff as well, which we'll get to in Seminar 10. So needless to say, by the end of Seminar 10, you will have done what we said earlier. you will have mastered the single most important skill there is today in business, especially in this world we're living in, which is the acquisition of customers through great, amazing marketing. So, quick recap. 10 weeks of seminars, all live, but also access to the recordings for a lifetime for you and your team in case you miss any, plus personal support from me and my team, questions answered, plus a month's free membership of my VIP Inner Circle. Full price to the world out there is $2,000. If you're one of the first 100, and if you haven't done it yet, you do need to do this now, definitely. Click on the link on this page, go to profits43.com, and instead of $2,000, you can either save $800 and pay over 3 months, 3 monthly payments of $395, or save $1,000 and get the whole thing for just one ridiculously, even as I say it's a ridiculously low price of $995. You will make that back. You know, in seminar 1 we do the 10 marketing windfalls. Like, the first one will make you 10 times that. It's crazy. But if you have any concerns, issues, whatever, understand this. You can only make money by coming on here, because if by the end of seminar 2 you're not convinced it's worth at least $10,000 to you and your business, you can leave. We'll give you a full refund, no questions asked. And I'm doing that because, yes, I want you on the program, but actually bigger than that, here's what I don't want. I don't want you going through 2021 in this very unpredictable world that we're living with, not mastering these subjects. It's too risky, it's too dangerous. You can't have a website that's ineffective in this economy. You just can't do it. So I want to remove any of the financial risk. So there's only one way really you lose money, really, and that is to not be on this program and not claim this savings. So you can still do it at the full price of $2,000, but go ahead and just do this now. You have nothing to lose. So click on the link on here or go to profits43.com. That's profits43.com. And at the end of our 10 weeks, you will have mastered, for a start, those 3 ways to grow your business. Remember that at the beginning, the 3 ways to grow your business? Get more customers, get them to spend more, increase your prices, and sell more to your existing customers. You will know how to do that with your eyes closed and get that minimum 100% profit increase. Hopefully it's obvious. My goals for you actually are much higher than that. But absolute minimum, that is what we are aiming for. And you will have mastered this vital subject. You will have protected your business from this economy and a recession. Will have had a 10-week relationship of me and my team supporting you. You would have got to know some wonderful entrepreneurs from around the world. If you're in the US, obviously you can interact with people from the US, but you'll meet people from other side of the world, Australia and so on, New Zealand. And similarly, if you're in Oz or New Zealand, interact with people from the UK, and it's a truly wonderful global event, because our events, it's not, by the way, just interacting with other business owners. It's a specific type, meaning very success driven. And the type of business, it doesn't matter whether you're business to business, business to consumer, sell products, sell services, this applies to everybody. Obviously you're going to fine tune, and we're going to give examples from all of those, but this is for everybody. What's really important is you and your focus and your attitude. And one more thing about this, which I think is sort of timely. I'm really pleased about us doing this now, and here's why. Think about it like this. At the end of that 10 weeks, where will we be? We'll be into spring, apart from our friends in Australia and New Zealand. But for the rest of the world, we'll be in spring, entering into summer. And most importantly for everybody, including our Oz and New Zealand friends, this world will be emerging from all of this. Obviously at different pace and all the rest of it, but broadly speaking, I think we can agree we'll be doing that. You will be emerging, and you will be going into the spring and summer with a knowledge and understanding on how to grow your business that will be phenomenal. Truly, truly phenomenal. And you know, I don't know how you came across me and how our relationship began, and maybe you stumbled on me in the last year or so in all this craziness. But how about we take all this and we flip it around and we actually make something good out of all of this, so that you come out of the strange world of 2020 into 2021 with a strength and a power and an understanding of how to grow your business that may even surprise you. So please, you do need to do this now. Click on the link on this page or go to profits43.com. There's zero to lose. And I'm looking forward to getting, the other nice thing is we get to know people. I get to sort of understand a bit about you and your business and what's going on and everybody else on the program. So we're going to have a fabulous 10 weeks together. Confirm your details on here. And I will speak to you very soon. Look after yourself, stay safe, and I will see you on Ultimate Marketing 2021.